I'm just getting ready to paint these doors, and I'm gonna set them all up out here. I'm not ready to paint them exactly just yet. I still have to sand. I've already cleaned the doors. I've done some other stuff to the doors, and now I'm ready to sand those doors. But and I'm gonna set them all out here. But the interesting question is, what happens with this door? This is the door that goes from the condo out into the garage, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one off, and I'm going to set it up just like these others. And when I do that, then obviously this area is not going to be lockable, and that's okay. But if you're in the winter and if it's really super cold, you might start thinking about it. Maybe you want to paint this one in place. Now, initially I was thinking I was going to paint this in place. I don't really want to paint this in place because then I have to paint around the hinge and trying to paint in here and get this all careful. This all needs to be cleaned and stuff. See how I took this hinge off? See how I still got all the black junk around there? And it's going to be in the high 50s for the next 3 or 4 days. So one of the other things I'm deciding right now is I'm going to take this door down, and I'm going to prep it I'm going to clean and prep it just like all these other ones, and I'm going to leave it out here. I'm going to also take the door shoe off it. Okay, see that's called a door shoe, and it's got oh, I was going to say it's got weather stripping on the bottom, but you know what? The weather stripping piece is gone. I didn't even know that. Now I do. And I can when I take this off, I'm going to take this to the store with me. Okay? And then I can make sure, I think I can buy just an individual piece that folds in there, that fits into that. And if I can't, maybe I get a different door shoe. Because what I want to do is when this door is closed, I want to get it adjusted so that it sets right down on top of this threshold. And you can see right now, see that gap? And I can feel the cold air coming in. No wonder I could feel it before. That's because it's not down there, is it? And so that's another thing I'm going to put on my list. Now, I haven't taken this door off yet because I hadn't decided, but I'm going to decide now. I'm probably going to be painting these tomorrow or the next day. And initially after we got this condo, I changed the locks and also changed the lock to the front door and stuff. And I also did this here just for security in case the garage door, somebody had the garage door opener and they wanted to come in here, you know, the last tenant or somebody else by accident, or this garage door just goes up or something. It just gives a little bit more security. Well, I'm pretty much done with that, and we're going to be changing all this hardware to something different anyways. But here's the thing. Once I take this door off and get it ready to be painted, the cold, because we're in the winter, is coming from the garage right inside the condo, okay? Worst case scenario, hey, if it's cold in here for a day as I'm painting these doors, so let it be, right? Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with this door. And when I get ready to paint the door frame, this will probably be one of the first ones I want to paint, right? So that I can get this door back installed. And after I paint this door, I'm going to have to let it set for 2 or 3 days to let it cure. Because the last thing I want is to get the door back installed and have it not cured underneath the new paint for when I put new doorknobs on. Now what I could do is, this is something that's going to have to go on my list to get at the store. I've got to get new self-closing hinges, the top and bottom one, and then I'll get a new one, a regular hinge for the middle. And so when I get ready to put this door back up, okay, I'll let it dry for probably 2 days. Then all I have to do is put the hinges on, right? And then I can gently set it on there and make sure my finger marks don't get on this door. And then I'll just have to leave the door handles, the door handle and the deadbolt off for another 3 or 4 days because I want to let this cure all the way. The last thing you want to do is paint doors, put them up the very next day, and then on that same day put your hardware back on it. Put all your hinges on, put your strike plates on, put your doorknob on, put your deadbolt on, because the next time you get ready to take your doorknob off, guess what? It's stuck right onto the door. Or you try to pop off your latch or your strike plate because you're going to replace it, and you try to take it off and it rips the paint and the wood off because there's paint on the back side of this that got stuck on here. You know what I mean? And then see, the other thing is this one, because it goes out into the garage, it's got the seal on there. And this is just a rubber type seal, and there's a groove on the side of this door jamb. And they usually do that for exterior doors nowadays. Years ago, they didn't do that. So I'm gonna pull this back. You can do that with the putty knife. Look at my fingers, just from touching this door a little bit. I've got to get it clean, sanded, and all that kind of stuff. See, it's just from all this stuff that comes off of here. Okay, you really want to paint over that? That's why you got to get this stuff cleaned. Look, see there? It's all over. That's why you got to need to get this cleaned and prepped properly. So I'll pull this off, and see, it looks a little tired. Somebody left that on last time they painted, right? See there? There's a little bit of paint on there. Here's some more right here. Getting you too close. See there? There's some more. Here's some more paint on there. It just looks old, doesn't it? So I'll get some new weather stripping. I can leave that off for now. You know, after I get it painted, and then I'll let this paint cure, the new paint that I put back on here. I'll get it cured properly. And you see this? I'm going to have to leave that. I'll have to paint around that, or I'm going to have to pull that off carefully and put it back on. I don't know if I want to take that off. Usually the tags they'll put on the side of the door jamb. So, but this one they put up here. Obviously you don't see that until the door is open. But usually you'll see them on the side. See here's the one on the side of the door. This is 20-hour rated, a 20-minute rated door, and a 20-minute rated door frame. See, 20-minute rating, and listed fire door frame, and this is listed a fire door because it goes from the condo to the garage. Okay, so I'll have to paint around, cut in around those. Oh well, I can do it, and then I can wipe off any excess later. It'll be fine. Okay, so that's something else I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to think real carefully and strategically. Once I get all the other stuff ready, I'm going to get this room all set up right before I want to get ready to paint those doors. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get this one off. I'm going to take everything off. I'm going to take it out there. I'm going to sand, clean it with simple green, then prep it and sand it, wipe it down, get it all ready. And I'll do that in an afternoon. Then I'll set it in there, let's say, and then get ready to paint the next morning. You know, I can do something like that, or I can do it the next morning. You know, I could take this off and leave just the hinges. No, I was thinking I could sand it and prep it, do everything with the hinges in place, and then take those off first thing in the morning and take the door off, and the door will already be clean, sanded, and all that. And I can do that all in place. I mean, that's another option you can do. And get it ready that way. Then the next morning, all I have to do, then I can leave this deadbolt on here for one extra night, let's say. Then the next morning, just take the two hinges off, and away I go, start painting. And then this door is still going to be off no matter what I do. It's still going to be off for 2 or 3 days until I decide that this is ready to be put back on. After I get done painting all the doors, the first door jamb I'm going to paint is this one here, so it can start drying before I start painting all the other ones. I can still paint the other ones the same day, but I'll do this one first. You see what I'm saying? And so, yes, is there a right and wrong way to do things and a game plan? Yeah, but don't get discouraged. You know, I'm giving you a lot of information here, and I'm not perfect at it. And there's some things I need to learn. There's different things. Is there 3 different ways to do this project? Yeah, there's probably 8 different ways to do this project. I'm just showing you one. Okay. I thought I might as well show this to you. This was the 3rd door that I showed you how to sand. Remember I was showing you on this one where whoever ripped the hinge off, it kind of pulled the paint off and somebody else painted over it. All I did was I just sanded that a little bit extra. You know, when I paint that, it's going to look way better than it did before. Okay? So lots of different things like that. You want your job to turn out good. Prepping your doors and spending a little extra time in your doors is a good thing. Well, I'm just getting ready in the garage to start painting these doors, and I had an extra little roll of craft paper that I had out in the garage, and I've got to go back to the Home Depot, and I haven't gotten the paint yet or anything, so I'm just kind of setting this up, and I wanted to show you what I'm doing. I've got everything sanded now, everything cleaned, everything sanded, everything ready for these to be painted. But remember before I told you that, see, when I set them on the craft paper like this, it's hard to get that bottom edge with the paint roller. And I'm going to do these with a mini roller, 4-inch mini roller. I'm going to paint this with the paint brush, okay? The little groove area. And then the rest of it I'm going to use a mini roller. And I don't want to hit the bottom, because if you paint just like this with a mini roller or a paintbrush or anything like that, lots of times you're going to get the door to stick to your craft paper. So the last time I did this, I cut some 2x4 blocks, and then I cut them about 6 inches long, then I split it in half with a chisel, and just used the little blocks, and I put 2 blocks. You know, one here, one there, and I set them up strategically along the wall, and then I set these on top of the blocks, but I had to make sure that the block didn't stick out beyond this edge so that I could run my paint roller through there. And this time I thought, hey, let's do something a little bit different. And I'm not sure if I told you what I was going to do or not. These doors, I've already done it. See this? Look at that. See that right there? That's a screw. Okay? I'm using 2.5-inch screws, coarse threaded, and I just put them on the bottom, and then that raises it up an inch. I got them about 1 3/4 inches, and so I can flip them around. I can just be real careful. Everything's going to be done in the garage, so I'm going to have craft paper across there, another piece over in here to set up all my doors. Okay, and so I'm just taking my drywall screws, and I'm just going to do one here real quick. Just set this down here, lean it up against the wall, and oh, look at that! That's what not to do. Usually I don't do that because I'm standing right here. But anyways, I've got just the coarse threaded drywall screws. That's it. That's all I'm using. 2.5 inch. That way they'll stick out. And I'm just going down a couple inches. Try to keep it as straight as you can. You know, if it's slightly crooked, that's okay. And I'm just checking this with my tape measure. Those are fine. Okay. And then I just carefully lift it up and stack the door over here. Okay. And got the rest of these doors to do, but I just wanted to do a couple so that you can see that it's really pretty easy. And then I can leave these screws underneath the door for as long as I'm painting. I'm just going to screw that bottom one in just a little bit more. Okay. And so when I get done painting all the doors, then obviously that means I'm going to have to set the door down carefully, you know, lean it down to get the screws out. And once I get done painting all these doors, I'm going to leave them out in the garage for 2 or 3 days, maybe even longer. See, I'm going to be painting the whole interior of the condo, and normally I paint the ceilings and the walls, and I do everything inside, and then the last thing I do is bring the doors out here, or I'll stack the doors up in the garage, and the last thing I do is paint the doors. Well, this time I'm not doing that. We're in the middle of winter, and we've got a warm spell, and I thought, hey, I'll just paint the doors first before I do anything else. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm getting this all set up, and I'm gonna paint all these doors, and then they'll be out here in the garage, and I'll have them out here the whole time that I'm painting the ceilings, the walls, the baseboard, the door frames, the door casings, the window stools, all that kind of stuff, and that'll help these cure longer. The last thing you want to do is after you paint your doors, you don't want to paint your doors one day and let them dry that night and then put them up the next day, because this edge here, you might have some paint on there, and that paint might not be cured enough, and then you put the hinges on there, and then the hinges stick because the paint's still wet. Even though the outside, the top edge of the paint feels dry, it's not cured all the way. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be a little bit of paint that gets on here from the roller. You don't have to paint these, you know, but some paint's going to get on that. Some paint's going to get on this where your door latch is. And so that's another reason why, you know, if you're not crunched for time, I would recommend leaving the doors and letting them dry, letting them cure. Just because the top surface of the paint is dry doesn't mean the entire body of the interior of that paint is going to be dry, because it's going to be semi-gloss. Last thing you want is for your hinges to start sticking, because that's what somebody did before. The hinge stuck, and then when somebody whacked this off, not me, but the person who painted these doors, the last time maybe they changed the hinges to something else. See, they ripped off the top edge of the paint. And I sanded this, and when I paint it, it's going to look fine. Okay, some of the doors were like that. Okay, and the other thing is, you don't want to put your doorknobs on too soon. You put your doorknobs on too soon, and you tighten them up. Next time you want to take your doorknob off, say your doorknob gets broken or it gets worn and you want to change it out, now you take the screws out and you have a heck of a time trying to get the body of your doorknob off, because on the back side some of the paint is stuck to it, and you have to be real careful. You don't want to jerk it off. You got to kind of hit it with your putty knife in a couple different places to loosen it up to get it out. Same thing with your door latch, and same thing with your door strike plates. I've seen strike plates get on there, and then somebody tries to take off an old strike plate and just beat it off or kind of pull it off, and it rips the top edge of your paint off of your door jamb, or it actually rips the wood and it peels up some of the wood, and you're like, oops. Yeah, okay, yeah, now I remember why VideoJoe tells me not to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna be able to have these set up for many days, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, however long it takes to paint everything inside. I'll leave these out here and they'll be curing, okay? And on these doors, the other thing on these doors, I've made a corporate decision, and lots of the edges were overlapping. Whoever painted this edge, some of it bulged over on the edge. And see, so I didn't want that. I wanted to sand that off. Now I'm right down to the raw wood, aren't I? And there's quite a few spots here and there along the door edges. You know, they're down to the raw wood. So my question was to myself, did I just put 1 coat of semi-gloss on here? Normally that's what I would do, is just put 1 coat of semi-gloss, and usually it's the fake wood grained doors, the white. But this is smooth. These are all smooth panels. There's no ridges, ripply ridges in here like that fake wood grained material, okay? This is all smooth stuff. And I'm like, if I just put 1 coat of paint on here, maybe, like see there, look at that. I had to do a little, somebody did a whoopsie, and I had to file that off and sand it off and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, do I hit all these with kills first? And that's the other thing I could do, is hit all of these different areas with kills and then lightly sand it and then just put 1 coat of paint on it. And I don't know, I might still do that. I might still do that. And then that way I don't have to put 2 coats on, because I was thinking maybe I'll just put 2 coats on here. These doors are 15 years old, but they don't really need 2 coats per se, you know. But you know, I get little things on here, and if I just put kills on there, I don't know if I have to sand every little spot that I put kills on, or if I just say, forget about it. I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 coats of paint on here. So I'm kind of wondering about that right now, and I'll figure it out. See, like these edges, when I do these with the paintbrush, boom, 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 I don't need 2 coats on that stuff, right? Okay, and maybe I just put 1 nice coat of paint on there, and then I do the whole door with the roller. It doesn't really take a whole long time to do the mini roller on here, believe it or not. I even do the mini roller on the side. When I do that, I do the edge, and then I do this flat edge, okay? Then I go back and hit this just very carefully to make sure that there's no paint from here, this edge coming over this edge, or this edge coming over on this edge, you know what I mean? You'll know if you've ever painted anything. You don't want to see that ridge, and lots of these doors had that ridge, and I sanded them all off because I don't want to see those, you know? I'm trying to do the best job I can. And so I might do 2 coats on here and be done with it. Okay, so you make the decision. The last job I did, they were white, fake wood grain doors with the rough top edge that made it look like rough wood. You know what I mean? And I just put 1 coat on everything, and I was done with it. You know, on these different areas, this is the other thing I could do. I could, when I do the first coat, okay, the first edge, I set all the doors up, and I do all of the doors first, okay, on 1 edge. Then I let them dry, then I flip them around and do the other side. Well, when I do the first one, maybe I just hit the edges, and wherever I see that it needs 2 coats, okay, and I can hit those and start over here and hit them, boom, 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 right? And then maybe let it dry just a little bit, not a whole long time, but then I can go back and start over here where I first started and just put 1 coat on the doors and not have to worry about 2 coats. But I want to get all these rough edges, raw edges, I want to get some paint on there. You know, it's really a good thing to get paint on there first. And who knows, maybe after I get them all set up, I can look at them all and I can hit them with a little mini roller, you know, and just hit all the raw stuff and do that with my semi-gloss, or I can do it with Kills. Kills is a primer material, okay? So I can do either way and then let them dry and then do one full coat over the entire thing when I get all done, you know. Maybe I can hit all these edges first, you know, after I set them up, before I paint this, because this is going to take a while in itself, right? So I can do these edges first, wherever it looks like I need them. With just the regular paint, with whatever paint I'm going to do here, okay? I'm going to get a white, a bright white, and then that paint, as I'm doing these edges, or before I do any of these cutouts, I do all the marks and stuff. Like see this edge, I only have to do a little bit there, right down there, and a little bit down there, okay? So I do each door face, do all that first, boom, 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 as I come around, right? Then I go back and start at the beginning again, and then do all of these, because that's going to take a few hours, you know, just to do that. And then I can flip the doors around and then do the same thing on the other side. I think I'll do that. See, I just got a game plan going, and I'm going to do one full coat on this, and I'm not going to do the 2 full coats, and I'm not going to use any Kills. I'm just going to use the regular semi-gloss white, bright white. I'm going to get the brightest white that I can at the Home Depot, and I'm going to ask somebody, okay, which one off the shelf is the brightest white without putting any more pigment in it, and that way they can shake it up and they don't have to special mix it with anything else, and I can guess with how many gallons of paint to get, and whatever paint, if I have a gallon and a half left, obviously I'll save the half gallon for paint touch up and all that kind of stuff, but the other gallon I can take back because it was right off the shelf, and they didn't have to put a color. If they put a color in there, if you get a 5-gallon bucket of something, you think, oh, I'll just get a 5, and you only use 2 gallons. Now you just paid for 3 gallons, and you're going to be storing 3 gallons. But whereas you could have gotten 3 single gallons, you see what I'm saying? And then you've got 1 extra one. But if they've already mixed up the paint for a special color, you're not going to be able to take that back. Okay, so measure your walls properly, measure all your material, and then when you get to the paint store, tell them what you're doing, and they'll help you come up with how much paint you're going to need for your project. Okay, all right. So I think I've talked enough for now, and I've got to get these doors set up. And then I'll make myself a little material list. And I don't have to get all the paint. I don't have to get the rest of the paint for the ceilings, the walls, all that kind of stuff. If I want to just run to the store and get a couple gallons of the white, bright white semi-gloss paint, I could just go there and get that so that I can come back. Because see, my main project for today is I want to get all these doors painted, and if I only have to do 1 coat, now's the time to do it. And so I don't want to stay at the store too long, okay, because it's during the day. Think strategically. You know, I should have picked up the paint yesterday on my way home, you know, but as it is, I've got to run to the store and get my paint so that I can get going with my project. Here's one more thing to think about. Remember, I was telling you, okay, I've got the screws underneath the doors, and I still got these other doors to finish, so that I can paint these doors without having them too close to the craft paper, and I can flip them around. I don't have to worry about putting blocks under there or anything like that. Get the paint roller on down there, nice and easy, paintbrush, whatever. And when I get all done, I'm just going to leave them in the garage and cure with the screws on there, obviously. And I don't have to, when I bring the doors back in, okay, I've got all the hinges off and all that kind of stuff. So when I get ready to put the doors back in the condo, it'll only be for me to set these at each location, and then I'll lean them, I'll put them down, I'll lean them on this front edge, okay? I'll just put that down onto the carpet and then lean it up against the wall, okay, so that I can screw the hinges in. At that point, then I can undo those screws. So I don't have to bring this down after I painted the doors and then bugger up the edges or something to get these screws out and then to carry the doors in or anything like that. I'm leaving those screws down there until I install these door hinges once I get them back into the condo. Because once I bring each one into the condo, I'm going to set it down on its face, on the face edge, this edge. I'm going to just lean it down against the wall, okay? Let's just show you what I'm talking about, okay? When I carry them into the condo, I'm going to set it. Here's where my hinges are on this side. I'm going to set it right down like this along the wall, kind of out at a slight angle, like that, okay? By each door. Now I can screw the hinges in, and I can take the screws out of the bottom of each door. I'm not going to set each door inside the condo like this on the tile floor, on the carpet, on the wood flooring. Because if you set it there and for some reason it wants to slide out or something, now you've scratched your floor, your door comes down and hits something else, and now you've got a mess on your hands. Okay? So that's it for now.